Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Cancer September 2023 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant, and I've done a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for Cancer people from different countries around the world over the course of the last month, and if you might be interested to see what's involved, just check out the information that's in the description below. Now, I've also done a number of healings for people as well. Now, when I was born, I was bestowed with the spiritual gifts of clairvoyance and also of healing. Now, my sole contract is that with respect to healing, I am not to receive any benefit from it for myself. Therefore, healing is free. Now, I have to charge for readings, but healing is free, no strings attached, no obligation at all. So if you or someone you know might be interested in that, just check out the information in the description box below. Now, as the subscribers know, and great to see the subscribers back again, you know, I love to see you each month, truly I do. I really welcome your support and thank you for inviting me into your home. We just take 5 cards, don't we? Because they're not we don't just spend 2 seconds on a card. They actually have a few minutes where each of them have a lot to say to us, it seems. And you also know that we don't have any video advertisements breaking their way into this content, and so you get to enjoy the experience of the reading directly and without interruption. But now, let's get it underway. Oh, by the way, I might use my pen to point out some of the things which I think are interesting in the artwork, which might have some significance. You may or may not agree with me, but you can have your own view while you listen along to my reading for you. So let's get it underway, shall we? And the first one is the Prince of Wands. This is the 7 of Cups. This is the 2 of Cups. This is the 9 of Wands. And finally, there is the Queen of Cups. Now, I'm also going to take this month, you'll never see me do this usually, take what I call a mood card, or some people call them oracle cards, or intuition cards or something. I don't know, I don't have any particular name for it. I just pick things up from the imagery on them. And let's choose one now, shall we, which we'll just have a look at the start and see what it is to say. And it is, ennoble your soul, make your soul noble. Now, why don't you come, as is our usual practice, sit down here together. You and I can have a good close look at the imagery on these paintings together while I do the reading for you. Okay, now let's have a look at this mood card, I think, as I might have called it. It says, ennoble your soul. Well, of course, you are a soul. You are a spirit, and you have come into this life, and to ennoble your soul. Well, everything is based on love. That is the divine. And I think you're being asked to bring your attention towards ennobling your soul by creating more loving relationships with those around you, becoming more kind and selfless, and communicating with your guardian angel every day. It's time for you to receive higher wisdom, I think, and just treat people well. I think that's all you have to do. It's the golden rule, isn't it? Do unto others as you would have done unto. Now, there's a lot more I could say about that, but we don't have the time in this video to do that. Rather, I want to look now at this card here, which is the 7 of Cups. The reason why I'm starting with this is because I want to show how you overcome things. And what we have here is this thing here is a mirage. This looks like a desert, doesn't it? This is a desert, but actually this desert is a swamp. And the cups are in here, the 7 cups. And these things are like will-o'-the-wisps that rise up in desert airs. These pyramids here are old. They are unfolding. They are unmoving. And the ground is cracked and dry. The thing about the mirage is it's not real. And this is saying that perhaps you are going through a period where you aren't really looking at yourself and your situation and your life really as being one that has great opportunity around it. Now, the reason why I say that is that, first of all, we have this thing here saying it's Venus in Scorpio. Well, Venus is the planet of love. and Scorpio is about intensity, in-depth transformation, and about exploration of the self and others. Now, I also have associated with the number 7 here, mystically, the planet of Venus as well. So we have Venus in the numerology and we have Venus in the astrology of the card. And what that means is there is a double Venus coming into Scorpio. And Venus just charges into Scorpio. The problem is, astrologically, Venus is in detriment in Scorpio, and Venus can't express its sensitivity nor its emotions properly. They can't express their emotions properly. Instead, they can get channeled into, well, what she does is she can channel into negative addictions and intensity, well, which is the darker side of Scorpio, isn't it? And she may well react with excess reactive behavior due to something that has affected her or you deeply and changed you in a way which throws up its own set of patterns. Now, I will say this, that this energy here represents the working of Venus in the sphere of the mind, notwithstanding that it's in cups. It's Venus in your mind here, where her influence is by no means clear-sightedness or straightforward. In fact, you believe what you want to believe when you're under the influence of Venus. And it might be that what a moment ago was a source of lust and enjoyment has now lost its attractiveness, and you feel as if the heads of flowers droop. The flavour of food has become stale, that your emotions are out of balance, or that there has been some past deep disappointment that still has not yet been resolved. Maybe you've tried to cover over old wounds, but this diversionary tactic, I suppose I would call it, hasn't really helped, has it? And yet you then might think, oh, I'm going to binge. I'm going to binge on food. I'm going to binge on drink. I'm going to binge on ecstasy or whatever it may be. But that problem still is there. But you do overcome it. That's the thing. These thoughts are overcome. Do you see, it's time to open your eyes and take a look at perhaps a painful reality, because only by perceiving, by recognizing your own inner reality will you be freed. And every further attempt to avoid it increases the stagnation of your emotional energy. Now, it can be the case that sometimes you get into a bit of a thought loop going on here, negative thoughts or feeling a little bit depressed, negative patterns of behavior relating to sex or diet or alcohol or drugs. Maybe, ask yourself this: have I really lost control over my circumstances, and is this producing damaging lifestyles? Is there some disappointment you have not yet worked out? Have you experienced something that was perhaps just a little bit too good? Have you overextended yourself or overdone things or overworked in any way? Now, we all have shadows within us, and there's nothing wrong with that. So say to yourself, know your shadows, embrace them, because they are part of you. And say this: as I recognize and accept my shadows, they lose their power over me. Well, here comes, I think, the cavalry, and it is the Prince of Wands. Now, the Prince of Wands has a lot of Leo in it, obviously, but there's a great degree of Cancer energy around this, so that's gratifying, because it means that you will have the attributes of this card. Now here, the Prince of Wands, of fire, the airy part of fire, and fire and air get on famously, don't they? The air comes in and the fire expands, this willpower, this energy which you have. He has the head crest of the lion. And here is Leo, I suppose, which is what I'm getting personified as he pursues it. He has this. He is the son of the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands. And so he has the strength and virility of the King of Wands, and he has the clear-sightedness and control and intellect of the Queen of Wands. And he's driving his chariot here through a field of fire. Now, this is particularly fortunate for you, I think, because this is really talking about a turning point in your life. I think that there is a blossoming love coming around here, and I see all sorts of cards to do with love and romance. There's a lot of intuitive creativity around here. Now, with the heart of a lion, he stands for honesty and integrity and what he believes to be for the common good. So there is a strong sense of morality to his character. And there is, I think, here for you a turning point where things have been going maybe with some difficulty or badly, you might think. So you have to use his energy and enthusiasm and drive, which you will have, energy, enthusiasm and drive. And this is reinforced by this card here as well, incidentally, to move on to better things. Now is the right time to do things. You must wear the same confidence that he has. He reminds you to re-engage in life and tackle any challenges that come your way. Have a lust for life. He's very courageous and loyal. So you have all you need. Don't let yourself be contained. Don't let yourself be slowed down. Life is prepared to receive you. Trust your boundless creative potentials. Now, what challenges are present now in your life? Spread your arms wide and breathe deeply into your heart and say, I love life and life loves me, because he is saying that you are perfectly ready to engage yourself fully in facing life's tests and challenges. But his greatest lesson is that his strong will can only help him towards his goal when it is in harmony with your own particular values. Now, by surrendering to love, you rise above yourself. This is what's coming through here to me, I think. His thoughts and daring are filled with creative power. This is his winged lion, and his trust in his perception frees him, allowing him to move beyond former limitations in thought and in action. Yeah, so you've really got it going for you. And in fact, your emotional life is going to be filled with love. Here we have what? Well, it's a great astrology. Let's have a look at this. Well, we have Venus. This time Venus is doing a good job, not like this time over here. Venus coming into, that would be Cancer. Now, Venus, of course, you know, is the planet of love, relationship, beauty, harmony, love. And it's also about money and material success. Not many people know that. And Cancer, of course, as you know, is about nurturing and development and comfort and providing a loving home and setting around you. And so the astrology there really can't get any better than it has. Now, as far as the art is concerned, these are mythical creatures. They're called hippocampi, I'm pretty sure. Look, in mythology, hippocampi comes from the Greek for horse monster. Well, they are horses on the top and they are dolphins on the bottom. And they are associated with Poseidon, whose chariot was drawn over the surface of the sea by these things. And here we have the white and the dark entwined together beautifully. And above the joyfully entwined hippocampi are two bees. Do you know, bees here, I think, are for the creative impulse and the building of sweetness. Now, bees are often used as a feminine symbol of the harmony that results in creativity. as a matter of fact. Now, their collection of nectar is made into honey. Honey is made... Look, do you know where the phrase honeymoon comes from? You know, when people get married, they say, now we're going on our honeymoon. Do you know the background to that? Well, this is it. It's to do with these bees and this love. In times gone past, the nectar of bees could be made into honey. Honey was then taken by people and made into a thing called mead, which is a sort of an alcoholic beer. And what happened was that the people would give the mead to the newlyweds 1 month's worth of mead. And so a month, of course, is a moon cycle. So you had honey, moon. And if you had a couple drinking alcoholic liquor for a month together, well, what happens, does it not? At least in my experience, that is the case. And so it encourages fertility. Now, I think that this can indicate also the possibility of pre-pregnancy, or at the very least a honeymoon period. Now, this is speaking to me of close bonds, togetherness, love, harmony, and a relationship that is strengthening a mutual love and respect. There's a receptive love, happy relationships, and emotional exchange. Do you know, if you love yourself, you are attractive to others. Your receptiveness towards yourself prepares you to give yourself totally to someone else. Now, a deep emotional exchange will be possible. A giving and receiving of overflowing love is possible at this time. Now, this union will occur in complete harmony, as symbolized by these entwined creatures here. And I think that your readiness to receive love is what makes you attractive. So surrender to yourself, to others, to life. So there's very harmonious relationships here, which may not just be romantic, but could also be social. It could also be business. It's also good for people involved in sales or in dealing with people. There's a love here that is both special and equal. And there's close friendships and partnerships about, I think. Now, with which persons and in which surroundings can you now share your love? Pay attention to the love coming to you now. Remain open and let it enter into you and go deep inside. And say to yourself this: there is nothing to do but enjoy what life offers. I am now ready to let into my life the love relationships which will fulfill me. Well, it doesn't really get any better than that, does it? Well, let's have a look here, because this is also giving you great strength, but there's a warning coming through here. Let's have a look. Let's look at this first. Now, this looks to me like the moon ruling Sagittarius, which is here. Now, what's interesting here is that here is the bow of Artemis. Now, Artemis was the Greek goddess of the hunt and also of childbirth, interestingly, and fertility. And so I think what there is here is this is about great strength coming towards you, obviously, as the Lord of material strength. And this strength and vitality, although there is a solar eclipse going on, this sun is nevertheless shining, and there is a great amount of vitality and strength being provided to you. Now, the moon ruling the Sagittarius, interestingly, in the number 9 here, I also have a mystical association with the moon. So this is a double lunar influence, and there it is, the moon blocking out the sun. And this is asking you to dig deep here. And I think what there is there is a power gained through unifying your conscious and unconscious energies. There is a great determination with you at this time, a strength of character, courage under fire in some respects I would call it, because I see you defending what you have worked for, and you'll have a great belief in yourself. Now, when the unconscious, of course, because this is the moon and this double moon here, when the unconscious becomes visible, well, you can be faced with many things you have covered up in order to avoid looking at them, haven't you? And this was talking about that. Now, this can produce fear of some sort, the fear of feeling painful wounds that you've covered up and hoped to forget. There may also simply be fear of your own yet unproven strength, which reaches into all areas of your life, reorganizing them. Now, this budding self-realization, it doesn't allow any return to the old you. There's no weakness with you. There's no ignorance with you. Your inner strength will grow, and you'll find that you will experience your energy as going far beyond the boundaries that you thought existed. This is a key experience, the beginning of a far-reaching inner and outer unfolding of your potential. So reach into yourself and discover new depths of strength and power that you never thought you had. Now, you could be reassured because this card is here and in this position and under the Prince, as we see it there, that you have what it takes to get by even in times of difficulty and stress. Inner strength is going to rise up and guide you towards your goals. And the process, you're going to learn more about yourself and your abilities, gaining an all-round new perspective which will bring security and self-confidence. Do you know, I think you're in the process of discovering your real strength. Trust your inner guide. You may want to take part in groups which can help you develop and unfold your potential. And I do ask this question of you. Are you a little bit afraid of your own strength? In what areas of your life does this fear come up? I think it's important also, because of the double lunar influence, for you to pay attention to your dreams at this time. But nevertheless, this is a card of great long-acting endurance. You've got the energy, you've got the willpower, you've got the wind in your sails. So say to yourself, I know more and more clearly who I am, and this recognition leads to the full development of my potential strength. Now, I think that only leaves us with, I think it's only this Queen that's left, isn't it? Did we do everything else? Yeah. Hello, the Queen of the Thrones of Waters. Well, I've got to say here that there is a great degree of Cancer around you, around this particularly. You see, there's no coincidences to these things very often. And I also think Gemini could be important. Now, the crest of this Queen of Thrones, now I'm taking this to be the, assume she has a crown, and there's a crest up here, which is this thing here. It's an ibis, isn't it? Well, the ibis is a water bird that symbolizes the lunar forces, and you can just make out a moon there, I think. The lunar forces and the cycles of time symbolizes also the realms of duality and the successful change that people go through. Now, as I say, the head, let me bring it in closer for you. The ibis I was talking about is a symbol of change, transmutation, and the lunar influence here. And it is also a variety of stork, which has to do with fertility. Now, I don't know whether you remember in the cartoons that you might have watched when you were a child, you'd see a stork flying through the air holding a cloth bag in which a new baby was deposited at the place of the parents. And that's very often, that was a euphemism for, well, because very often parents didn't want to tell children where babies came from, so they said it was delivered by the stork. In any event, what this does, though, is it's talking about the maternal, in particular, the maternal instinct But I think also that with this strong masculine feeling on the other end there, it could well also apply to males, is what I'm thinking. Look, anyway, we all have positive and negative energies or aspects to us, even though they play out in different gendered ways. Now, what we see with the lady here is that she sits with her skirts pooled about her like water, gazing at her reflection in the river waters below. Now, she's veiled in light, really. There's all this light that's around there. And so it's hard to look upon the truth of her, for she reflects and mirrors the person that's actually looking at her. Now, what this is suggesting to me is that at this time you may well be very receptive, but very impacted by external people and obviously other people are external, but by other people and external events. Now, what this means is that you can become swayed or moved by external events and by other people. Now, this is very important if you've got people around you who are negative or causing drama. Get them out of your life, because you'll be very susceptible to it at this time. You'll be very intuitive, and you'll be a keen observer. You may well be quite dreamy and tranquil. Actually, poetic is something I can see. I think that you will see yourself in others, but also see through others and reflect that back to them. Now, I think what's also the case is that you will find that you'll have a great degree of emotional integrity during this time. I do have to say this, that you will be emotionally mature and able to get on with others, but I do feel that there is a need for you to get in touch with your inner feelings and then express them to others. Do you know, by showing your feelings openly, you become more beautiful. Just as this card was saying, that your receptiveness towards love is what makes you attractive. Well, this is also saying that. See, it's about this sense of love, which is strongly around you this month, is to say that where you show your feelings openly, that is positive feelings, of course, then you become beautiful. Now, there may well be some people who don't understand you. Well, don't concern yourself about it. There are plenty of others with whom you can share feelings. Now, are you open to your emotions and feelings? Trust your feelings. Live in harmony with them. And say this to yourself, because it's vitally important during this month that my openness and vitality make me beautiful. Well, I've got to say, what a fantastic spread of cards for you. Good job, you.
Well, I personally found that to be fascinating, didn't you? What a lot of great things happening for you this month, and don't you deserve it? Surely you do, that's for sure. And it's going to be probably until now next month before there's your card goes back over there, that mode card. It won't be until next month now that I see you, unless you contact me privately. So, but I would ask you this: if you did enjoy the reading, then on the way out, please hit the like button, because it helps the YouTube computer do things with the videos. You understand how that works. Probably a lot better than I do, I should say. But until I see you again, remember one thing, and it is this: that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.